I exclusively told you ages ago that the Babylon 5 reboot with J. Michael Straczynski was not going to be happening. I got called a liar. But now it seems that everyone else has caught up, as JMS announces he's leaving the United States. Welcome to the Tachyon Pulse podcast.
Our Tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
I've just got to say, I told you so. Over a year ago, I told you so. But now we are starting to realise that, there isn't going to be a Babylon 5 reimagining. At least, not with J. Michael Straczynski, but I'll come back to that later. So, a year ago, it is actually just over a year ago now, I dropped a video on Scitrek, our sister channel, saying that J. Michael Straczynski's attempts to get the reimagined Babylon 5 series off the ground was not going to happen. I'd heard that during the strikes there were 4 or 5 of the big studios that were interested to see the script that J. Michael Straczynski, or JMS, had put together for the reimagining. But then I was told that after they'd seen the script, they weren't interested. The reasons for that? The main thing I kept hearing was that studios just weren't sure that fans would go for a Babylon 5 reboot. A total hard reboot, a reimagining, boots up, I think JMS called it, reimagining of the franchise. Now, I would have been interested to see what JMS would have done with it, but I can understand why studios would have been a little bit cautious. Apparently, the one studio that was quite interested was Amazon. They were thinking about putting it on Freevee when that was still a thing, and it would have been a relatively small budget, a show that really would have fit on Freevee quite well. Now, I think Amazon had its fingers burned with things like Rings of Power, and actually I know that for a fact. And talking to the people I get to speak to over Amazon and MGM, they now internally call it the Rings of Power problem. Any TV show that gets reimagined, rebooted, how do you do that without annoying the hardcore fans? And that was really the problem with this plan of Babylon 5 being reimagined, because the hardcore fans wouldn't have liked it, the coming and going fans wouldn't have liked it, and everyone else wouldn't have cared. But why do we know now that it is definitely dead? Well, that's because JMS has announced publicly that he is actually planning to emigrate to the United Kingdom, and he wants to produce a TV show over here. It's not a bad idea. Britain's great. It's actually in the name. He has said that he's never made it even remotely, a hidden fact that he loves British television, and he would love to maybe even get involved with British television or some sort of sci-fi show over here. Well, he just says produce a TV show, to be fair, but then he cites a bunch of old, like sci-fi shows. So, hey, maybe he's the new guy that's going to take over Doctor Who. You never know. It wouldn't shock me, actually. But, no, he hasn't mentioned that, and that would be adding 2 and 2 and equaling 19. But he has talked in his release about basically having to get all the visas, etc., to come to the United Kingdom, and it's not massively easy, and that it is a exciting adventure for him, and he doesn't know whether it's going to be the best or worst decision in his life, but he is legging it from the United States and coming over here to the United Kingdom. Now, as far as I know, he's never publicly said the Babylon 5 reboot was done. But the fact that he's leaving the country does tend to suggest it. It also might explain why just over a week ago, or 2 weeks ago now, I was hearing rumours that Warner Brothers were investigating the possibility of relaunching Babylon 5 without JMS. All of a sudden, those rumours make a little bit more sense, as JMS was not going to be in the country. I don't know 100% what has gone on behind the scenes, but obviously JMS would have been kept informed of what their plans were, and JMS would have kept Warner Brothers involved in what his plans were. I can only imagine that at some point there's been a conversation, look, we're not getting any interest with this. JMS has gone, you know what, I fancy going to the UK anyway. I can't imagine he's coming here unless he's got something interesting lined up. Doctor Who. It's not, I don't know that, by the way. And I think he would want to have something lined up to come over here. So I think there's been a conversation at some point. Warner Brothers have realised, well, we still own this Babylon 5 thing. it does well when we put it on Max, etc. The DVD sales of A Road Home did well. Maybe we do a reboot. It wouldn't be logical for me that they're at least exploring the option. But for now, at least, JMS is gone. And, hey, I wish him nothing but amazing luck over here in the UK. We have one of the most interesting film and television industries outside of Hollywood. We really do produce some high quality stuff. And a writer of JMS's very high quality would be very interesting. Now, I joke about Doctor Who, but let's be honest, he would probably be an amazing fit for that, particularly as the rumours I'm hearing is that Russell T Davies is leaving, and Disney, if they sign another deal, would want to pick the new showrunner. Who knows? And again, I'm guessing here, but the timing is about right. That if Disney were to announce that they were going to fund another series, but with a new showrunner, and J. Michael Straczynski is leaving the USA to come to the UK at about the same time, well, isn't that an interesting consideration? Again, I just feel like I need to reiterate, I am just coming up with that. I've not got any sources that have told me that's the case. But it would be an interesting solution to the BBC's problem. Reading a lot of JMS's writing and comics, etc. over the years, I am fascinated to see what he will do over here in the UK, and I will be following his UK adventure very, very closely. It is a shame he's not doing the Babylon 5 reboot, but as I said, I told you so over a year ago that it wasn't going to happen. I got called all sorts of names, including by JMS himself. But sadly, I was right. I didn't want to be right. I wanted to see Babylon 5, but it is what it is. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. Could a Babylon 5 project without JMS, and that's the only option now, be a possibility? And what sort of TV shows over here in the UK do you think JMS would actually be really good at? I can think of a few immediately off the top of my head, but I do like the Doctor Who idea, even though I only came up with it during this video. Can you imagine if that was actually true? If I've just guessed that? That would be impressive. But guys, what do you think? And can you understand why JMS would maybe be leaving the US film industry, considering the turmoil that Donald Trump has stirred up in the last week? Obviously, that would have had nothing to do with his decision, but I think maybe he sat there at home now thinking, I think I made the right decision here. What do you think, though? Get into the comments. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, and you'll never miss any of our new videos when we get to drop really good insider information that nobody else seems to get. It's always worth keeping an ear open. And as always, please stay safe. I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.